EU leaders divided on gas price cap at energy crisis summit. European Union leaders struggled to find immediate practical solutions at their summit Thursday, called to grapple with the energy crisis fueled by the war in Ukraine and maintain a united front in the face of Russian President Vladimir Putin's coercion. After lengthy talks in Brussels dragged well into the night, the 27 EU leaders could not bridge divisions between some of the biggest member states and failed to impose a gas price cap to counter Russia's strategy to choke off gas supplies to the bloc at will. The Netherlands feared that if a price cap was set too high, supplies would simply sail by Europe and go elsewhere. Everyone wants the gas price to come down, but you want to make sure that gas imports keep coming, Prime Minister Mark Rutte said. Natural gas prices spiraled out of control over the summer as EU nations sought to outbid one another to fill up their reserves for winter. The member states have already agreed to cut demand for gas by 15% over the winter. They have also committed to filling gas storage facilities to at least 80% of capacity by November and, as a way of reducing gas-fired power generation, to reducing peak demand for electricity by at least 5%. The question of possible EU gas price caps has moved steadily up the political agenda for months as the energy squeeze tightened, with 15 countries such as France and Italy pushing for such blunt intervention, and where Angela Merkel was the soothing voice often brokering a compromise during her 16 years as German Chancellor. Her successor Scholz is now at the heart of a division in the bloc. Germany and the Netherlands maintain that market interventions like excessive price caps could hurt both the availability of natural gas and incentives for governments and consumers to save it. At the opening of the summit, the need for rock-solid EU unity in confronting Russia was highlighted by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who addressed the 27 national leaders by video conference from Kiev, asking for continued help to get his nation through the winter. Russia is increasingly relying on drone strikes against Ukraine's energy grid and civilian infrastructure and sowing panic with hits on Ukrainian cities, tactics that European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen called war crimes and pure terror on Wednesday. Diplomats are already assessing more sanctions to come, but Orban's perceived friendliness toward the Kremlin makes life tougher. Even though the previous EU sanctions targeting Russia have been approved unanimously, it has increasingly become difficult to keep Orban on board by agreeing to exemptions.